Nora Christman, and I'm your child's AP Physics teacher. A little about me. I grew up outside of Buffalo, New York in Orchard Park, and I went to the University of Rochester where I double majored in physics and English literature. I met my partner Eric there, and the two of us moved to the Philly area in 2000 when I started my master's at the University of Pennsylvania. I graduated from Penn on a Tuesday, got this job on Thursday, and that was about 20 years ago. And so I've been teaching physics at LM ever since. And I love to get involved. I'm in the yearbook sponsor, Amazing Ace organizer. I just like to stay busy. So this class is primarily about Newtonian mechanics. So we'll spend most of our time talking about the physics of the late 1700s. In the AP Physics 1 class, we will also cover some more modern topics such as waves, sound, and circuits. But really what this class is about is not only preparing students for the AP exam, which I do take very seriously, but really learning how to describe the world around them, both with sophisticated math techniques and words. For a lot of students, using words to describe physics is even harder than using math, because in order to pick the right equation, it doesn't necessarily mean you understand the situation, but to be able to explain it to me or to a classmate can be much more challenging. The engineering part of this class will certainly look a little different this year. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to do some at-home projects. After the AP exam, I really enjoy using some time to talk to my students about current events and talk about race and gender in science and global warming, all sorts of really interesting things. And I love talking to my students who are such thoughtful and intelligent people about these different ideas. But the most important thing my students can take away from this class, I hope, is that it's okay to be confused and it's okay to ask for help. And if I can leave my students with that skill, then the physics is just a cherry on top of a year well spent. So we've had to switch up our techniques a little bit this year. What I've decided to do is to have the students preview some videos before class each day. In those videos, I embed questions and comments so I can get an insight into what they're thinking. And I also ask them to take some notes. The next day in class, I will share my version of the notes that were taken during the video, and I'll annotate them, highlight, add my own thoughts and comments. I'll try to draw some connections that they might not have noticed or might have slipped by. Here I'm looking at a graph of velocity versus time and showing how, since velocity is on the y-axis and time is on the x-axis, the slope of that graph will give us a value for acceleration. But something that wasn't covered in the video is that the displacement can also be calculated from this graph. Since displacement is velocity times time, if we find the area between the velocity curve and the x-axis, then we can figure out how far the object traveled over the elapsed time. So I did invest in an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and I'm using an app called Notability here that interfaces with Zoom really well. And I've been really happy with this way of introducing new ideas to the students. After we've taken some notes, I try to do some sort of activity that applies their new understanding. Here I am showing you how one of the new activities works called Desmos. In Desmos, you can design, as a teacher, different activities that test students' understanding. This is obviously a card sort activity where students were prompted to organize the cards that best describe the graph. And they did this actually with a partner, and we're sharing screens so they could talk through it. Each of these slides is working towards the eventual skill of being able to match position and versus time graphs directly. Labs are an important part of any physics class, and so since being able to do in-person labs is currently not really an option, we are instead analyzing high-speed video with a variety of tools. So this is a live recording of me illustrating some of the things that were covered in a lab I actually did today with one of my classes, where the goal was to describe the position versus time of an object in free fall. As you can see, this student collected data, created graphs of position and velocity versus time, and then had some observations. Please email me anytime if you have any questions or concerns, and I look forward to learning with your child this year.